Hi, my name is Mark Cosgrove. Welcome to a PROAKTIV Impulse. Ugh, this should have been an email. You've had that thought, right? You sat in a meeting and you thought to yourself, I didn't need to be here. This guy could have just, sent everything out to us in an email and I could have read it in my own time. But instead, I'm stuck here, blah, 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 blah. We've had that frustration. Or how about this frustration? You get a message, maybe you see it on your phone or on your computer, but you're busy doing something else. And then you go back to it. An hour later, you think, I've got to respond to that. And now you can't remember where you got it. Was it a text, a WhatsApp message? Was it an email? Was that something I saw on Teams? Was it a reply to somebody else's email? And you spend 20 minutes looking for the communication that you know you need to respond to, and you're getting more and more frustrated because you know you saw it, but you can't remember where. So the problem arises because we have so many different ways of communicating. We have, like I said, text messages, WhatsApp, that kind of stuff. You've got email, of course. You've got Slack and Teams and these kinds of communication boards and things that we use to organize our work at work. We've also, of course, got emails and presentations and meetings. And now, of course, so many of them are taking place online as well. So all of these collaborative tools for communication are great, but they also create their own problems. So what can we do about it? Well, a couple of things. First of all, sit down and have a meeting. Get everybody involved in the conversation in your organization and start to talk about, the essential questions that you have to ask, which is, okay, what communication goes where? If I have this kind of communication and I'm trying to get it to that kind of audience, what's the best way to do it? Should this be a text or an email? Should it be a Slack or a Teams? Should this be a presentation? Should it be maybe a recorded video, like whatever. The point is, we have to figure out what's the best way to get the right kind of communication across. And then the second question to ask yourself is okay, well, how fast do we expect people to respond to a particular kind of communication? Because let's face it, most people treat a text message as something more urgent than an email. And an email is, not as urgent again as like a phone call or whatever. So you need to sit down and figure out, in our organization, what's our preferred mode of communication? What kind of things need to go in what tool? Is this something that we have to archive or keep track of, so it should be maybe online and not in a text or a WhatsApp message? Different things like that. So sit down with your team and start to have a conversation about how do we want to use the various communication tools we have? And then make some rules. Basic, fundamental guidelines that everybody's going to follow. If you're saying this, do it in an email. If you're saying this, hold a meeting. If you want to do this, a text message is fine. Or if you need me to respond quickly, text me. If you can wait a little while, or if it's a more elaborate communication, email me, and so on and so forth. Build the rules yourselves. There's lots of best practices out there, but there's no one way to do stuff. Figure out what works for your organization. Maybe your organization is co-located. Maybe it's completely distributed all over the world. So for you, the rules have to take into account time zones. Maybe my company's all in one place. I don't have that problem. So you figure it out. And then the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm a little bit biased because of what I do for a living, but for the love of God, train people. Do not assume everybody knows how to use Microsoft Teams. It's a great tool, but it's bloody confusing if you don't know what you're doing. So when people join the company, and for the people who already work for you, give them some training. Let them understand how the tool works and also how you guys want to use the tool. So remember, have a meeting, make some rules, do some training. And you'll find yourself saying, ugh, that should have been an email, a lot less. My name is Mark Cosgrove, and this was a PROAKTIV Impulse.